So as you know, in yesterday's class, we discussed what are patterns, what are anti-patterns, forces in cyber anti-patterns, cyber anti-pattern template. Okay, in today's class, there are 7 anti-patterns, in which 3 anti-patterns I will be covering today. And in tomorrow's class, remaining 4 anti-patterns would be covered. That completes your 4th module. So let us have a quick recap on all these 4 topics. What are patterns? Patterns means some way of working, some way of practice. So if it is going to give you good effect, it will be a pattern. If it is giving the bad effect, you call it as anti-pattern. Okay, so 2 types of patterns are informal template, detailed template. As the name itself is telling, informed template is a crispy one, smaller one. It will be easier to work with people afar. And detailed template, it will be consistent and complete as it is detailed. Okay, so next is anti-pattern concept. So anti-pattern concept is it concentrates commonly recurring problems, and also it will give you solution. There are 2 templates for this anti-pattern. One is full write-up, one more is micro anti-pattern. Okay, so anti-patterns concept, if you want to try to understand, initially we will be having some context and causes. In order to treat this context and causes or any problem, we will practice the anti-pattern solution. Okay, this solution, trying to give solution to this particular causes and context, but it will be having some loopholes or problems. So because of these loopholes and problems, what we will do, we will find one more solution. And when we compare this previous solution and the new solution will be having benefits and also its own consequences. And because of new solution, you will be able to find few more related solutions. Okay. Next, forces in cyber anti-patterns. You have 3 types of forces in cyber anti-patterns: primal forces, horizontal forces, vertical forces. When you say primal forces, it is present in almost every design. Whether you are doing cyber security anti-pattern design or any design, there will be primal forces. I have given you an example. If you are building or constructing a building, you expect the building to be strong, secure. Okay, and horizontal forces, like which combination of sand and cement will work for this particular building. Vertical forces, whether it is a building constructed for bank or it is constructed for hospital or it is constructed for school, depending on that, some forces will be affecting. So this horizontal forces and vertical forces we are not going to discuss in detail, whereas primal forces we are going to discuss in detail. So in primal forces, you have management of functionality. That means what is the basic function of that particular design, whether it is satisfying that particular functionality. If it is satisfying that functionality, then we will go for security check. Are you understanding? I want to use ATM card to draw money. Whether it is able to draw money, that is its basic functionality. Later, I will check whether it is secured or not. So when it comes to security, whether it is confidentiality, it is managing the confidentiality. That is whether it is protecting the information. Management of integrity, that is whether it is protecting the coherence of data. Okay, and also management of availability, continuous readiness of the system. Whatever the system you design, that should be always ready for the usage. That is the primal design forces. Next thing is cyber anti-pattern template. As I said, 2 types of templates are there. One is micro anti-pattern template, one more is full anti-pattern template. Okay, the first one is micro anti-pattern template. See, it will be just having 3 headings: name, anti-pattern problem, refactored solution. Name means pejorative term. That means a problem indicating term. Like if we call someone as criminal, it is a pejorative term, negative term. Okay, so anti-pattern problem. What is the symptoms? What are the consequences? What exactly is the characterization? All those things would be represented here. Refactored solution. For this problem, what is the solution? Only 3 things for the microstructure. So if you take full anti-pattern template, you will be having what? You will be having heading fields and body fields. In heading fields, you have anti-pattern name. That means name of the anti-pattern, also known as means alias names, nicknames, all those things would be there. Refactored solution names. Refactored solution is here. But what is the name of the solution? That would be given here. Unbalanced primal forces. As I said, there are 4 primal forces: functionality, integrity, confidentiality, and availability. In that, if something is unbalanced, that is given by this unbalanced primal forces. Then anecdotal evidence. What is anecdotal evidence? In Kannada, we say gade. Gadeಗಳಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಆ ತರ. If there are any proverbs which supports this particular anti-pattern, that would be given in this anecdotal evidence. And what exact in body fields you have background. What is the background for this anti-pattern? For the better understanding, it will help. And what is the anti-pattern solution? Here you just have the name, but here you have the solution. And then you have causes, symptoms, and consequences of this particular anti-pattern. Then you have known exception. Known exception is, like I say, studying for the exam lying on bed is anti-pattern. Studying for the exam is pattern, but studying for the exam lying on the bed is anti-pattern. But if you are ill, if you are not feeling well, then you're studying for the exam lying on bed may be exception. Though it is anti-pattern, it is recommended. Like that, what is the known exception for this bad practice? That is given by known exception. Then you have refactored solution and examples. So what is this refactored solution and examples? Whatever the name you gave here, refactored solution, its names and examples. And if you can have related solutions related to this, that can be given by related solution. So this is the structure of full anti-pattern, and this is the structure of micro anti-pattern. So now in this chapter, we have 7 anti-patterns in which I will be covering 3 anti-patterns in today's class. So can't patch dump is the first anti-pattern, unpatched application is the second anti-pattern, never read the logs is the third anti-pattern. So these 3 anti-patterns let us cover in today's class, and the remaining 4 anti-patterns let us cover in the tomorrow's class. So first one, can't patch dump. What is the anti-pattern name? Can't patch dump is the anti-pattern name. What are the other names for this anti-pattern? Social engineering, phishing, spam, spyware, drive-by malware, ransomware, autoplay attacks. So basically, few of you may not be aware, what is this can't patch dump? So can't patch dump means the people. Okay, what do you mean by dumb people? You might be having idea. If somebody is not so intelligent, if they are not acting wise, you call them she is dumb, he is dumb. So what is the meaning of dumb? So when you say the dumb meaning is stupid, the literal meaning is not able to talk, but the informal meaning is stupid. So who are stupid here? People are stupid. The anti-pattern is telling people are stupid. Why people are stupid? If someone says you have won 1 lakh crore, like you have to give your Aadhaar number or account number or whatever, we will be able to share the prize with you. There are few people, foolish people who are going to respond to those kind of phishing mails. Spam mails will be having some attachments. You are going to click on this. If you are not aware, you are going to click on it. And there may be like you will plug in your pen drive. When you plug in your pen drive, what happens? It's going to play with autoplay attack. There may be some viruses which will get installed automatically. Okay, what is this is the bad practice. What is the bad practice? You clicking on the email, you responding for phishing, you unintentionally sharing your confidential information on Facebook. All these things are bad practices. So what is the solution for this? Security awareness. Security awareness. If you train the people around, though they are not technical people, if you bring the awareness in them, that will give the solution for this. So what is the unbalanced primal force related to this can't patch dump? That is confidentiality and integrity is getting affected. So what is the proverb that supports this can't patch dump? Technology is not the problem, people are the problem. Technology is not giving you any problem, people are the problem. They are clicking on unnecessary things. Okay, if they are little bit careful, then those things can be avoided. One more proverb is technology is easy but people are difficult. Technology is easy to manage but people are difficult. Here background is not specified, it is optional. If you want, you can specify the background related to the anti-pattern. So what is the solution? Here I just had the name. So what is the solution? Solution is due to lack of security awareness, human end users are almost always the greatest vulnerability, for example. Okay, that is the bad practice. So we will click on unexpected email attachments. We will be susceptible to phishing. Use easily guessed passwords. We want to remember it easily. We are going to use easily guessed passwords. And also we will visit drive-by malware websites, malicious websites, and then we will, without scanning, we'll put the pen drive into the system. All those things will cause the problem. So because of this bad practice, what are the causes, symptoms, and consequences? Lack of a recurring security awareness training program for all end users. That is the problem. That is the cause for this problem. And non exception is not specified. So that depends on the anti-pattern. If you want to specify, you can specify depending on the context. So what is a refactored solution? As I said, security awareness is the solution. So if you want to put it in little more detailed way, security awareness training program for every person in an organization. If somebody is joining the new organization, they should be given with security awareness training. The mere training will not be enough. You have to test them whether they have taken, whether they have grasped the security training. And related solutions, it is not enough if you are training the individuals who are working in the organization. It is also recommended you have to train the people around. The end user should be trained. That completes the first anti-pattern, can't patch dump. So to summarize, the bad practices, we clicking on some unrelated stuffs, we clicking on, we plugging the USB without scanning all the stuffs. Then what we are doing, the solution for this is security awareness training. That completes first anti-pattern. Let us move to the second anti-pattern, unpatched application. So let me tell you the background first about this unpatched application. There are so many softwares getting released, okay, worldwide. There are many applications getting released. You believe it or not, it will be having tens of thousands of known defects. The person who developed will be knowing there are lot many defects, and he is going to release the software because of the deadline or some peer pressure or something. So after releasing it, what happens, he subsequently after few days he will release the patch for it. Are you understanding? Patch means to cover up the defects. What he will do, he will release the binary patch. So when some person with bad intention sees the software, and he sees the limitations or vulnerability, and also he will be having the access to the binary patches, he will obviously get idea to attack the vulnerability. That is the background. So what is the bad practice here? What is the bad practice? Unpatched application is the bad practice. We know there are defects and we are not addressing it immediately. That is the bad practice. Also known as, what are the other names for this anti-pattern? Vendor specific updates, default configuration, those can be the other name for this anti-pattern. So the refactor solution name is patch management. We should efficiently do the patch management that will help you to fight this bad practice. So unbalanced primal forces is integrity. Anecdotal evidence, that is a proverb that supports this unpatched application, is most new attacks are going after the applications, not the OS. You must be aware, OS is the bridge between the man and the machine, but the end users will not be working directly on the OS. End users will be working directly on the applications. If you observe, the security attacks are happening not for the OS, the security attacks are happening for the applications. Okay, so background I had already told. And then anti-pattern solution. Now, what is the anti-pattern solution? That is the bad practice. We are announcing the vulnerability, and then we are giving the binary patches, which will obviously give traces to the attackers how to exploit the traces. The next thing is causes, symptoms, and consequences. Uh, Automatic update is disabled, which is encouraging this anti-pattern solution. And we are not visiting the vendor after buying the software. We should check the vendor's website whether he is periodically releasing some updates. We are not bothered about it. We once bought the software and that's it. And no inventory of applications and vendors. We are not maintaining this either. No update maintenance schedule. We are not bothered to maintain something softwares. And there is a institute, US CERT we call it as. That means United States Computer Emergency Readiness Team bulletins. This will periodically release. If some application is having some problem, periodically it will release. So don't use this application. If in between Cam Scanner had some problem, cam scanner you might be using in your phone. So it periodically tells you. There are many websites. Here we have taken US cert as an example. There may be Indian websites as well. So if you are going through that bulletin, you will be careful and aware whether which kind of websites you have to avoid. And also there is no governance of applications of versions. We should be careful about whether it is updated version or outdated version. Those things you should be taken care. And now no exceptions, software product support has expired. I had given you example of studying for the example lying on the bed. It is anti-pattern, but still it is accepted when you are ill. Likewise, if software product support has expired, what you can do? You have to go with the previous anti-pattern solution only. So refactored solution and examples, you obtain inventory of installed softwares. That means you maintain an inventory, and if it is a smaller network, enable updates. If it is a larger network, you have patch management tool, and you have to keep on looking on US cert. So what is US cert? Computer Emergency Readiness Team bulletins. So if it is listing some applications as malicious, don't use it. And one more solution is you can have the data centers which will manage this patch management. So that completes the second anti-pattern, unpatched application. So what is the problem here? Unpatched application, periodically releasing the software with the defects, and later you are giving the patch that is helping the people to attack the vulnerability. So what is the solution? You should have a very strong tool to manage the patch, okay, without publicly announcing these are the problem, this is the patch. You can do it internally with the contact of the vendor, so that the things will move smoothly and the vulnerability will not be giving any idea for the security threats. The third and last anti-pattern for today's class, the remaining 4 anti-patterns I'm going to discuss in tomorrow's class. Never read the logs. So what is this never read the logs? In laboratory, you will be having the logbook, correct? Whenever you are entering the laboratory, you are expected to enter the logbook. And whenever you are moving out of the laboratory, you are expected to enter the logbook. So what is the intention behind this logbook? The intention behind this logbook is who is entering the laboratory, when he is entering the laboratory, when he is leaving the laboratory, and what all how long he stayed in the laboratory. All those data we want. Why do we want all this data? Why do we have to enter all this data in the logbook? Because engineering laboratory will be having very sensitive equipments, and we want to know whether these sensitive equipments are handled with care or somebody is misusing. Those kind of things we will be managing the logs. Similarly, very much similar to this, network devices, operating systems, all those things will generate logs to record the events. Consolidating and reviewing the logs is a critical important security activity. We should always go through the log books, but we are not doing it. Means log books in the sense log entries. Okay, if there are potentially malicious activities such as repeated failed login attempts, that fact must be detected urgently and acted upon. It is very much similar to if somebody is entering password to your Gmail account. If you fail 3 times, what happens? You may get the message uh, or temporarily blocked. It is very much similar to your ATM card as well. Now, for ATM card, if you enter the wrong pin for thrice, then what happens? It will be blocked temporarily. Like that, these kind of things should be there to protect the security. Okay, so as usual, let us go with the template. Anti-pattern name is never read the logs, also known as is guys watching big network displays miss everything. That means you are focused on big network colorful displays, but you are missing out the smallest important things. And insider threat, these are the other alias names for this. Advanced persistent threat, network operation center are the alias names for this. So what is the refactor solution? Advanced log analysis. Obviously, the bad practice is never reading the log. Good practice is reading the log and analyzing the log. Okay, what is unbalanced payment process? Confidentiality. And anecdotal evidence, Nick lesson at Bearing Bank. Why this name? You Google it. You will understand there was a person, Nick Leeson, who is a bankrupt. And similarly, WikiLeaks are the incidents. I think it is related to American voting campaign or something related to Bill Clinton, wherein exactly the evidences or informations were leaked. And Aurora cyber intrusions, these are the set of cyber threats which happened. Okay, so that's why we are relating this to the and never read the logs. So what is anti-pattern solution? Large colorful displays, but IDS, that is intruder detection system, and intruder preventive system are disabled. So it is bringing the feeling that we are in a secure network, but in reality we are not in the secure network. Okay, so causes, symptoms and consequences. Nobody is responsible for reading network. There are so many security professionals, nobody are thinking it is their duty. And no health and status monitoring of system log events. Nobody is monitoring the health of a network. No alarm rules for Windows configuration. New intruder detective system yields numerous alarms. Many IDS rules are disabled. So since they are giving numerous alarms, we want to get rid of those alarms. So what we are doing, we are simply disabling the stuffs, and we are temporarily happy, but in the long term, it is affecting the security. So what is a refactored solution? Review logs daily many times. So instead of not reading the log, simply looking at the colorful display and simply having the fake confidence or that the network is secured, go through the logs. Sometimes what happens? Sometimes the centralized log is very much perfect, but if you go the local logs, they are not perfect. They are having some malicious things. So what do? Once in a while you have to audit local logs also. Okay, so this completes the third pattern as well. To summarize this, this is the bad practice is not going through the logs. The good practice is going through the logs regularly, if possible many times a day. So to summarize today's class, we discussed three anti-patterns. One is can't patch dump. So can't patch dump means people are very difficult to handle. So they are clicking on unwanted emails. They are doing lot many silly things which is causing threat to the system. So what is the solution for that? You have to train them properly. The second is unpatched application. I am releasing software, means people around the world are releasing softwares with defects, and later they are telling for this defect this is the patch, which will give you clue for the attackers. So that is the bad practice. What is the good practice? Having a data center or having the patch management tool or automatic update will be the solution for that. The third one is never read the logs. So we are not bothered to read the logs, which is making way to many attackers to easily attack. So what is the solution? Read the logs periodically, many times a day. That will help you to keep an eye on the intruders. Okay, that completes whatever was planned for the today's class. If you have any doubt, you can ask me the chat window. As you people are not having any doubts, I'm ending the meeting now. Uh, Let us meet tomorrow in tomorrow's class. As planned, Saturday will be the quiz about the second chapter. If you come prepared, it will be fruitful for you. Okay.